What's not okay to do with a guy friend when you have a boyfriend? If you have to hide it from your boyfriend, it means it's not okay. I have a 4-year-old. We've had lots of conversations about secrets versus surprises. Secrets are bad, surprises should be good. You should never keep secrets from mommy and daddy, but it's okay to keep mommy's birthday present a surprise. No, they are not okay. I thought I was coming home to eat a cookie and play some Baldur's Gate 3, but now I have to socialize. Away, terrible surprise. Talk to me next time so I can mentally prepare myself for the event. Anything you wouldn't do or say with them if your boyfriend was standing next to you. Also, that's what tarot card readers, astrologists, and other kind of fraud life mentors do. Be so abstract that it'll capture something of value for everyone. For example, tomorrow you will feel uneasy for some external factor, like, yeah dude, I feel uneasy when the toilet seat is not the right temperature. TBF, if you're home alone and the toilet seat is already warm when you sit down to take a shit, that's a pretty good reason to feel uneasy. Like, whose thick thighs have been gracing my porcelain without permission, and why is my shower curtain pulled shut? I have a friend who lives in another country. He's 50 years old, going through a divorce. They had sponsored a foreign student since she was 15. I visited him last year, and she's still living with him at age 22 while she attends grad school. It was shocking to see their relationship close up. They did stuff like hold hands under a blanket while watching a movie. I can't even describe all the hugging and kissing and obsessive behavior I witnessed. He kept telling me he felt like a father to her. I finally asked, would either of you do this stuff in front of a boyfriend or girlfriend? He didn't answer, but hopefully it made him pause. But I won't be visiting them again. The easiest starting point is to ask yourself, what would I feel if my partner did this with their friend, and rule all of that out immediately. The number of times I've seen people ask that, and they say something like, oh, I totally don't mind if my BFGF tongue kisses someone else while rubbing their genitals, it's just flirting after all. Going to a hookah lounge at 2 a.m. with the guy friend right after saying you were too tired to go to your boyfriend's house. This happened to me a couple months ago. I was the guy friend and she was flirting with me. Found out later because her boyfriend was a classmate of mine that I was close to, and when I brought it up to him he was shocked. Ended pretty quickly after that. Make them think you guys would ever date if you eventually break up with your current BF. This is a huge one that I see too often. Oftentimes, it isn't even intentional, but that's irrelevant. Deep down she knows that guy friend would date her given the opportunity, but she doesn't straight up shut down the possibility of them dating because either she's afraid of losing the friendship or she secretly likes the attention. I have a friend that spent college and a few years after in the orbit of a girl that was obviously keeping him and a few other guy friends close like that. He wouldn't date much during that time because she might break up with her BF and he was next in line. It stunted him in the relationship department for years. This is a conversation to have with your boyfriend to know what your boyfriend is comfortable with. Different people consider different things as cheating. What if my BF doesn't like me being friendly to other guys and having guy friends, but I'm naturally friendly to everyone regardless of gender and my interests are male-dominated? Reach your hand across two seats to touch your guy friend's crotch while your boyfriend is sitting next to you. Speaking from experience here, not okay whatsoever. Edit. I didn't tell my friend her boyfriend what happened because he sat next to her and I think he knows and saw what happened. I know it's not the case, but I'm picturing her reaching across your seat to get at the other guy and it's a very funny image. Spending much more time with him rather than with your partner. This is a solid one. Should had noticed that red flag when my now ex-wife started spending so much time with her coworker. This same exact thing happened to me and I was trying so hard not to be the jealous, controlling type that I subconsciously ignored the red flags. That thing that some women do when they cling to one of your arms and hold their head against it. Some physical contact is fine, but that feels like a little too much. Best friends GF does this with me. I'd how to react if not embrace it because she's so sweet and caring, but I can see my best friend looking at us slightly weirded out. She also always tells me that she isn't physically affectionate with him. If nothing else, tell your friend it makes you uncomfortable. He could be imagining a plethora of things about what you're thinking. Giving him that peace of mind from your end will make it a lot easier for both of you to deal with her, whatever that looks like. If you want to keep that best friend and be a bro before hoe kind of guy, shrug her off until you train her to keep her distance. And if anything feels flirty and makes your wiener tingle, shut it down. Ignore her. This might make her try more. Better to piss her off than lose a friend. Use them as a boyfriend replacement when your boyfriend is not available. I'm not really talking about physical stuff. I mean using another guy to fill in whatever void you would normally do with your boyfriend if he happens to not be available. I get platonic friends and workplace partners are a thing, but trying to fill an emotional void with someone else because your boyfriend isn't available is what sends mixed signals more than anything, even if that's not the conscious intent. Edit. Want to emphasize it's okay to do things if your partner isn't available with other people, or even just another person. It's more self-examination of when you are interacting with another person singularly and why. Anything you would think is not okay for your boyfriend to do with one of his friend. With one of his female friends asterisk. I wouldn't want my partner treating male friends the way I treat my male friends. Putting them above the boyfriend by using the I know him for longer than I know you ... double quotes. Same thing if we reverse genders. I mean ... I single quotes have known my friends far longer than any future romantic partner. Most of my friends are female. If I'm given an ultimatum, them or her, it's gonna be them every time. They have tenure. It's not okay to hide things or be secretive about your interactions with a guy friend when you have a boyfriend. Transparency and honesty are key to maintaining trust in your relationship. My rule of thumb for socializing with the opposite sex while in a relationship is that if you're not comfortable telling your partner about what happened, it shouldn't happen. TBH, friendship between men and women is hard because very often the guy secretly or not so secretly wants to fuck his girlfriend. Men know their own kind and that's why they have trouble with their GFs having best friends. Your concern is that maybe your girlfriend's friends might secretly be attracted to them. But ... who cares? If you trust your girlfriend, then you have no cause to be worried anything will happen. A good girlfriend won't be flirting with men behind your back. If you don't trust your girlfriend, why are you dating? Your opinion is such a common one, but it's also awful. How do you people function with this level of distrust and jealousy? Is this why most relationships I see look rocky at best? 1. Anything you wouldn't do with a same-sex friend. 2. Anything you wouldn't want your partner to see. Confiding in them about problems in your relationship with current BF. When you do this, the male friend is basically your emotional support boyfriend. Also, the male friend, if they're morally corrupt, may see this as an opportunity to slide in between you and SO to get his pound of flesh at the cost of your relationship. TBH, I'm always sketched out about opposite sex friendships where one is in a relationship and the other is straight and very single. People act like it's completely normal and fine, and sometimes it is, but anecdotally I've seen enough SOs get outplayed by the conveniently single and emotionally supportive friend. I think it's a little over the top to say that people are only allowed to confide in friends of the same sex simply because you've seen people who didn't handle it gracefully. I'd have a much narrower perspective of relationships if I could only ever talk through my problems with other guys, and I can't imagine it'd be much different for women. While your boyfriend is at work, during the night shift, don't write funny things on your male friend's genitalia and post about it in social media. I remember a conversation with my ex. She was quite close with her own ex who she had been friends with for years before they even got together, so I understood her keeping in touch with him, and they shared a friend group etc., so I wouldn't want to get in the way of that. However, after a party she mentioned she had stayed over at, we'll call him Pete Pete's, and that she's done it before, so it's quite handy. It was a long time ago so I can't remember the finer details, but I ended up asking where she slept when staying at Pete's, and it turns out she would sleep in his bed with him. That was one of our final conversations. So I suppose sharing the bed with a guy friend qualifies for the list, especially if it's your ex. There's a lot of structured answers here, but the real answer is that it depends. You need to have a real conversation with your partner and be open about your feelings and boundaries. Then you can figure out what's okay to do with friends. I've been married over 25 years, and my wife and I know each other's boundaries. Friends are fine, we do not hide stuff from each other, neither of us is into watching the other person flirt. I'm a bit more possessive than she is, but we've talked about it. Instead of trying to control her, I try to start with how I feel and what those feelings are rooted in. I wasn't always like this, younger me was idiotic. One of my best friends is super relaxed with his wife, doesn't care if she flirts or dances with other guys. She's more possessive than he is, but they make it work because they've had honest conversations. Walk arm in arm with them. Lie in bed fully clothed, obviously watching Netflix. You can keep doing all this with your girlfriends if you're straight, but with your guy friends, if either of you are in a relationship, you need to respect your partner and be less affectionate, even if you both know nothing would ever happen.